Chemical control and coordination. The neural system provides a point to point rapid coordination among organs. The neural coordination is fast but short lived. The nerve fibers do not innervate all cells of the body, and cellular functions need to be continuously regulated. So, a special kind of coordination and regulation has to be provided. This function is carried out by hormones. The neural system and the endocrine system jointly coordinate and regulate the physiological functions in the body. Endocrine glands and the hormones. Endocrine glands lack ducts, so they are called the ductless gland. These are ductless glands. Their secretion is called hormones. The classical definition of hormone is a chemical produced by the endocrine glands and released into the blood and transported to a distantly located target organ. According to current scientific definitions, hormones are the non-nutrient. They are non-nutrient chemicals which act as intercellular messengers and are produced in trace amounts. The new definition covers a number of new molecules in addition to the hormones secreted by the endocrine gland. Invertebrates possess very simple endocrine system with few hormones. They have a large number of chemicals that act as hormones and provide coordination. Exocrine gland is a gland that pours its secretion on the surface or into a particular region by means of ducts for performing a metabolic activity. Examples: sebaceous gland, sweat glands, salivary glands, intestinal glands. Heterocrine gland are the mixed gland is a gland that has both exocrine and endocrine regions. The former pouring the secretion to ducts while the latter pouring the secretion directly into the blood or the lymph. They have the properties of hormones. They have low molecular weight. They have no cumulative effect. They are non-antigenic. No cumulative. Hormone control reactions are not reversible. They do not provide energy or building materials. They act as slowly or quickly. Their excess or deficiency leads to disorders. They are soluble in water and blood, act in very low concentration. They do not provide energy or building materials. Hormones are produced in inactive form, the prohormones. Called prohormones. Example: proinsulin, which is the active form. They are also called the messenger because the site of effect is different from the site of synthesis. Next is the human endocrine system. The endocrine system comprises of the endocrine glands and hormones, producing diffuse tissue or cells located in the different parts of our body. The endocrine glands in our body are the hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal, thyroid, adrenal, pancreas, parathyroid, thymus, and the gonads. These are some other organs that also produce hormones. Example, gastrointestinal tract. The study of endocrine glands is and the role of the secretions is called the endocrinology. A person who specializes in the endocrine glands are the endocrinologist. First endocrine glands we have sorry hypothalamus. It is a basal part of diencephalon forebrain and it regulates a wide spectrum of body function. It is considered as supreme commander of endocrine system. Basal part of diencephalon or forebrain. Okay, it contains several groups of the neurosecretory cells called the nuclei which produce hormones. These hormones regulate the synthesis and the secretion of the pituitary hormones. Hypothalamus serves as an anatomical connection between neural system and the endocrine system. The hormones secreted by hypothalamus are of two types: the releasing hormones, which stimulate secretion of the pituitary, and the inhibiting hormone, which inhibits secretions of pituitary hormone. For example, a hypothalamic hormone called the gonadotropin releasing hormone stimulates the pituitary synthesis and release of gonadotropins. They are of the two types, that is the releasing and the inhibiting. It stimulates secretion of pituitary hormone and inhibiting it inhibits secretions of pituitary hormone. For example, a hypothalamic hormone called the gonadotropin releasing hormone. It stimulates the pituitary synthesis and the release of gonadotropin. On the other hand, somatostatin from the hypothalamus inhibit release of growth hormone from the pituitary. Somatostatin, it inhibits release of growth hormone. These hormones originating in the hypothalamic neurons pass through axons and the release from the nerve endings. Various other hormones secreted by the hypothalamus are the thyrotropin, releasing hormone, TRH or TSH, then the adenocorticotropic releasing, which is ARH, then the SRH, somatotropin releasing hormone, prolactin releasing hormone or luteotropic or the lectogenic hormone, which is the PRH, LTHRH. These hormones reach the pituitary and gland through a parietal circulatory system and regulate the hormones secreted by the anterior and the middle lobes of the pituitary. The posterior pituitary is under the direct neural regulation of the hypothalamus. Posterior pituitary is direct. Hypothalamus. Next, we have the pituitary gland. This is a small pea-shaped gland located in the bony cavity called the sella turcica. It is attached to hypothalamus by a stalk. Pituitary is often called the master endocrine gland because it secretes a number of hormones and which regulate and control the activity of the other endocrine glands. It is divided anatomically into two parts, that is the adenohypophysis and the neurohypophysis. Adenos consist of two portions called the pars distalis and the pars intermedia. The pars distalis region of the pituitary, commonly called the anterior pituitary, produces growth hormone, prolactin, thyroid stimulating hormone, adenocorticotropic hormone, luteinizing hormone, and the follicle stimulating hormone. Pars intermedia secretes only one hormone called the melanocyte stimulating hormone. However, in humor, the pars intermedia is almost merged with pars distalis, neurohypophysis, or the pars nervosa, also known as the posterior pituitary. Mm. These two hormones called the oxytocin and the vasopressin. Vasopressin. These hormones are actually synthesized by the hypothalamus and transported externally to the neurohypophysis. The following table summarizes various hormones of pituitary glands, their functions, and consequences of their over or under secretion. Growth hormone is stimulate growth by stimulating protein synthesis. Hyposecretion of growth hormone leads to the gigantism and acromegaly, and the hypo is the dwarfism. TSH, which is a thyroid stimulating hormone, stimulates thyroid secretion. Then the adrenocorticotropic hormone, which is the ACTH, it just stimulates the production of steroid hormones called the glucocorticoids from the adrenal cortex. Gonadotropic hormone, that is a follicle stimulating hormone. It stimulates gamete production, secretion of sex hormones, development of the follicles. Then the interstitial cell stimulating hormone stimulates the Leydig cell of the testis and induces secretion of the testosterone. It induces ovulation of the fully mature Graafican follicles and maintenance of the corpus luteum in the female. And the luteotropic hormone or the prolactin, it stimulates the growth of the mammary glands and lactation. Then the melanocyte stimulating hormone, it controls dispersal of melanophores in skin in the vertebrates. As in the man, it is doubtful. Hypersecretion leads to the hyperpigmentation. Then the oxytocin stimulates the milk ejection from the mammary glands, causes contraction of the uterus at the time of childbirth. Then the antidiuretic hormone or the ADH vasopressin, it acts mainly at the kidneys and it stimulates reabsorption of the water and the electrolytes by the distal tubules and thereby reduce loss of water through urine, which is the diuresis. Stimulates contraction of smooth muscles, blood vessels, and causes rise in the blood pressure. And the hyposecretion of the ADH leads to diabetes insipidus. Simon's disease is common due to degeneration of anterior lobe of the pituitary gland, resulting in a dry and wrinkled skin of face and the premature aging. Next we have is the pineal gland. Located on the dorsal side of forebrain. It secretes hormone called the melatonin. It plays the key role in the regulation of 24-hour rhythm of our body. For example, it helps in maintaining the normal rhythms of sleep, wake cycle, body temperature. Apart from this, melatonin also influences the metabolism, pigmentation, the menstrual cycle as our defense capability. Due to its location, pineal gland is also called the epiphysis cerebri. Melatonin is the antagonistic or to that of the MSH secreted by the pars intermedia of pituitary. It is an inhibitory factor for sexual maturation and excitement, as it opposes SSH and the LH hormone. Serotonin, a neurotransmitter found in other locations in the brain, is also found in the pineal gland. Serotonin stimulating hormone. Next is the thyroid gland. It is often largest endocrine gland and it is positioned on the neck just below the larynx and has two lobes, one on either side of the trachea. Its lobes are interconnected with a thin flap of connective tissue called the isthmus. Okay, the thyroid gland is composed of thyroid follicles and the stromal tissues. Each thyroid follicle is composed of cubical epithelium and filled with the homogeneous material called the colloid, which is a homogeneous material. Cubical epithelium. Small amount of loose connective tissue forms stroma of the gland. Besides containing blood capillaries, the stroma contains small clusters of specialized parafollicular cells or the C cells. Thyroid gland secretes the hormone thyroxine, triiodothyronine, and the thyrocalcitonin. Thyrocalcitonin. T. Thyroxine T4 and the triiodothyronine T3 are secreted by the thyroid follicular cells. Iodine is essential for the normal rate of hormone synthesis in the thyroid. Both are iodinated forms of an amino acids. Okay, and the amino acid tyrosine. Iodinated forms of amino acid. T3 is more active and potent than T4. T4 gets converted into 3 by removal of one iodine atom in the liver, kidneys, and some tissues. Thyrocalcitonin is the calcium lowering hormone. Calcium lowering hormone. secreted by the C cells of the thyroid gland. It is secreted in response to high blood calcium level. It suppresses release of calcium ions from the bones and lowers the calcium level in the blood. Next is the functions of the thyroid hormones. It regulates the metabolic rate of the body and maintain BMR, basal metabolic rate, regulate growth of body tissues and development of the mental faculties, stimulates tissue differentiation, example promote metamorphosis of tadpoles into adult frogs, support the process of red blood cell formation, regulate carbohydrates, proteins, fast metabolism. We have disorders of the thyroid gland, that is the hyperthyroidism and the hypothyroidism. Oh yaar ye la ye kera mulla le ani thoda easy. Take it easy. Disorders of thyroid gland. Hyperthyroidism. The hypo. Excessive secretion of thyroid hormone result in the Graves' disease. Excessive secretion. Or the exophthalmic goiter, characterized by the bulging eyes due to fluid accumulation, loss of weight, nervousness, and rapid heartbeat. And the hypothyroidism, that is the deficiency cause cretinism in infants. Symptoms are retarded growth, underdeveloped sex organs, mental retardation. Myxedema or the girl's disease is caused by deficiency of thyroxine. Deficiency in adults. It is characterized by the puffy appearance due to fat accumulation in subcutaneous tissue, lack of alertness, slow heart rate. Example, simple goiter is the enlargement of thyroid gland may lead to cretinism or the myxedema. It is caused due to dietary deficiency of the iodine. Next, we have the parathyroid gland. In humans, four parathyroid glands are present on the backside of the thyroid gland. One pair each in the two lobes of the thyroid. Parathyroid consists of the two types of cells, that is the chief cells and the oxyphil cells, small and large. The chief cell secretes peptide hormone called the parrot hormone or the Colles hormone, which regulates calcium and phosphate balance between the blood and other tissue. The secretion of the PTH is regulated by the circulating levels of the calcium ion. Parathyroid hormone increases the calcium levels in the blood. PTH acts on the bones and stimulates the process on bone resorption. This is called dissolution or the demineralization. PTH also stimulates reabsorption of calcium by the renal tubules and increases the calcium absorption from the digested food. Along with the TCT, it plays a significant role in the calcium balance in the body. Dissolution or the demineralization.